Honey is supposed to be one of the most honest foods on earth. Made by bees, sealed by nature, and trusted for thousands of years as both food and medicine. But in today's grocery stores, that trust has been quietly destroyed. Up to 76% of honey sold in the US isn't real honey at all. It's ultra-filtered syrup, stripped of pollen so you can't trace where it came from, then blended with corn syrup, rice syrup, or cheap sugars and sold as pure. This isn't a small problem. It's industrial-scale food fraud. By removing pollen, companies erase honey's fingerprint, making it impossible to prove whether it came from legal beekeepers or overseas factories. What's left looks golden, pours smoothly, never crystallizes, and behaves more like liquid sugar than a living food. Because that's exactly what it is. Even worse, some so-called premium brands have been caught selling honey contaminated with banned antibiotics, pesticides, and heavy metals, putting children, pregnant women, and seniors at real risk. Friendly bee mascots, organic labels, and European branding are being used to hide practices that would outrage consumers if they knew the truth. Today, we're exposing 7 honey brands you should avoid at all costs, and revealing 5 brands that still respect bees, transparency, and real honey production. By the end, you will know how to tell real honey from liquid fraud and which jars deserve a place in your pantry. Worst number 1. Sue Bee for generations. Sue Bee was the face of American honey. The friendly bee mascot, cooperative roots, and wholesome Midwestern branding made it the brand parents trusted without hesitation. Founded by Iowa beekeepers in the early 20th century, Sue Bee represented everything people believed real honey should be: local, honest, and safe. That trust collapsed in 2013. Sue Bee was caught knowingly selling honey contaminated with chloramphenicol, a banned antibiotic linked to bone marrow suppression, aplastic anemia, and leukemia. This isn't a minor regulatory issue. Chloramphenicol is illegal in food because even tiny amounts can be dangerous, especially for children and the elderly. The very people most likely to consume honey. The contaminated honey had a telltale sign. It looked unnaturally clear and perfectly smooth, lacking the cloudiness and pollen found in real honey. Instead of issuing transparent recalls or fully disclosing the scope of contamination, the company quietly paid fines and continued selling honey to unsuspecting families. Sue Bee proved that heritage doesn't guarantee integrity. A century-old cooperative chose profit protection over consumer safety, using a cute mascot to hide a serious public health failure. When a brand trades on trust and then breaks it this badly, there's no excuse, and no reason it belongs in your pantry. Worst number 2. Walmart, Great Value Walmart. Great Value honey didn't become America. Best-selling honey because it was good. It became popular because it was cheap and everywhere, and that low price is the first red flag. Real honey costs money to produce. When something is priced far below the cost of beekeeping, transportation, and testing, the math simply doesn't work. Laboratory testing revealed why. Great Value honey has been found to contain corn syrup, rice syrup, and cane sugar derivatives, chemically blended to imitate the look and sweetness of honey. To hide the evidence, the product is ultra-filtered, removing 100% of pollen. Without pollen, you can trace where the honey came from, or prove it's even honey at all. The result is a syrup that looks unnaturally clear, never crystallizes, and behaves like dead sugar water instead of a living food. It causes blood sugar spikes, similar to table sugar, and delivers none of honey's natural enzymes, antioxidants, or antimicrobial benefits. Europe bans ultra-filtered honey outright. In the US, it fills millions of pantries. Walmart perfected the ultimate food fraud, selling corn syrup at honey prices, wrapped in the illusion of a bargain. Cheap doesn't mean safe, and in this case, it doesn't even mean real. Worst number 3. Wholesome sweeteners. Wholesome Sweeteners positions itself as the healthy, organic alternative for families who want to avoid chemicals in their food. USDA organic certification, premium pricing, and clean-looking packaging all signal safety, especially to parents trying to make better choices. But this is where expectations collide with uncomfortable facts. In 2019, independent laboratory testing found glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup weed killer, in Wholesome Sweeteners honey, at 123 parts per billion. multiple labs confirmed the findings. Glyphosate is classified by the World Health Organization as a probable carcinogen and has been linked to endocrine disruption and developmental harm, making its presence especially concerning for pregnant women and children. The company's defense highlights a major flaw in organic honey. Bees travel up to 3 miles from their hives, foraging on crops that may be sprayed with herbicides, something organic certification cannot fully control. Regulators allow much higher glyphosate levels than many scientists consider safe, creating a legal loophole that brands quietly exploit. Wholesome sweeteners proves a hard truth. Organic labeling does not guarantee clean honey. When environmental Worst number 4. Billy Bee. Billy Bee wraps itself in Canadian imagery, maple leaves, a friendly bear mascot, and product of Canada language, creating the impression of honey sourced from pristine northern wilderness. For many consumers, that association alone implies higher standards and cleaner food. The reality is far less wholesome. A 2020 class action lawsuit accused Billy Bee of cutting its honey with corn syrup and rice syrup. Laboratory analysis supported the claim, showing sugar ratios that don't match real honey. Internal company communications later revealed executives were aware of the blending while continuing to market the product as pure honey. Even more misleading, much of Billy Bee's bulk honey reportedly comes from Asia, not Canadian beekeepers. Syrups are added to fake thickness and sweetness, stripping the product of honey's natural enzymes, antioxidants, and antimicrobial properties. What's left is biologically dead syrup that causes dangerous blood sugar spikes, particularly risky for diabetics. Billy Bee didn't just sell fake honey, it sold national pride as camouflage. The bear mascot and Canadian branding weren't symbols of quality. They were distractions hiding one of the most cynical honey frauds on the market. Worst number 5. Kroger Honey. Kroger's private label honey looks like the sensible middle ground option, not flashy, not premium. Just pure honey at a price families can afford. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous. It trades on trust earned in other grocery categories, not on actual honey quality. The biggest red flag is ultrafiltration. Kroger honey contains 0 pollen, making it impossible to trace its origin. That's not accidental. Removing pollen conveniently erases evidence of adulteration and allows honey to be blended from multiple countries, including imports linked to lead contamination. FDA alerts have repeatedly connected similar ultra-filtered honey to Chinese sources contaminated with heavy metals. Independent labs have also found rice syrup markers, proving the honey was deliberately cut to lower costs. Here is the smoking gun. Kroger often sells this honey at prices below the wholesale cost of producing real honey. That math only works if the product isn't real. For adults, it's deception. For children, it's risk. Lead exposure damages developing brains permanently. Kroger created a honey so cheap it crosses from budget option into public health gamble territory. Some bargains don't just cost money, they cost trust and safety. Worst number 6. Lang Honey. Lang Honey markets itself as refined, premium and European, the kind of brand people assume follows stricter food safety standards than American producers. German origin, elegant packaging, higher prices. Everything about it suggests quality you don't need to question. That trust is misplaced. Independent testing found Lang Honey contaminated with nitrofurans and streptomycin, antibiotics that are banned in food production due to links with cancer, gut damage, antibiotic resistance, and birth defects. These substances are illegal in the European Union, meaning this honey cannot legally be sold in Lange's home market. And yet, it has repeatedly been exported to the United States. Despite scandals in 2002 and 2006 and regulatory fines, Lang continued selling contaminated honey to American consumers with minimal recalls and limited transparency. The strategy is simple. Rely on the reputation of European food standards while dumping rejected product into a less strict market. Lang Honey proves that European doesn't automatically mean safe. In this case, it means selling Americans honey that Europeans themselves are not allowed to eat. A betrayal hidden behind sophistication and price tags. Worst number 7. Dutch Gold. Dutch Gold is one of the oldest names in American honey, and that longevity is exactly how it avoids scrutiny. Founded in the 1940s, the company evolved from small-scale beekeeping into one of the largest industrial honey processors in the country, supplying restaurants, bakeries, and food service operations at massive scale. Those little plastic bears on diner tables? That's often Dutch gold, and that's the problem. Independent laboratory testing consistently shows extreme ultrafiltration, stripping pollen down to absolute zero. Pollen isn't just a detail. It's honey's fingerprint. Remove it, and you erase origin, traceability, and accountability. What's left is a crystal-clear, shelf-stable syrup that never crystallizes, flows like water, and looks identical from batch to batch, a dead giveaway of industrial processing. Sugar profiles from consumer testing groups don't match single-source honey, strongly suggesting blending and stretching practices designed to maximize profit while maintaining the illusion of purity. The flavor is flat, uniform, and lifeless, lacking the complexity that real honey develops from diverse floral sources. Dutch Gold proves that age and scale don't equal honesty. This isn't honey made by bees for people. It's honey engineered for factories, cafeterias, and cost spreadsheets. Technically food, yes, but biologically and nutritionally, it's a shadow of what honey is supposed to be. Best number 1, raw Manuka Honey Co. This is where the list turns from fraud to redemption. Raw Manuka Honey Co. was founded with a simple but disruptive idea. Real medicinal honey shouldn't require a second mortgage. Sourced exclusively from New Zealand's remote Manuka bush regions, the brand delivers verified Manuka honey without the inflated lifestyle pricing common in the category. Each jar clearly displays certified MGO and UMF ratings, the only globally recognized markers that prove Manuka authenticity in a market flooded with fake, Manuka-style blends from countries that don't even grow Manuka plants. Transparency is the point here, not mystique. The honey itself tells the story. Thick, dark amber, slow-moving and rich with that unmistakable earthy, slightly medicinal flavor. Independent lab testing confirms antibacterial potency, the same MRSA fighting and wound-healing properties found in premium competitors that cost far more per ounce. Unlike ultra-filtered grocery honey, this product retains its natural structure and bioactive compounds. And at 30–40% lower cost than luxury Manuka brands, it proves that pricing doesn't have to exploit fear or prestige. Raw Manuka Honey Co. earns its place by doing the unthinkable in the honey aisle, telling the truth, proving it, and charging fairly. Best number 2, Local Hive. Local Hive was built around a simple insight most honey brands avoid. Local honey only works if it's actually local. Founded in 2010, the company partners directly with regional U.S. beekeepers, producing state-specific honeys that clearly list where they come from: Arizona, Texas, California, Colorado, and more. No vague product of USA claims, no global blending. The proof is visible the moment you open the jar. This honey is raw and unfiltered, with natural cloudiness and visible pollen, the exact thing ultra-filtered brands remove to hide their origins. That pollen isn't just aesthetic, it's functional. Research shows that regular consumption of local pollen can help reduce seasonal allergy symptoms by gently training the immune system. Flavor varies by region, as it should. Texas honey tastes different from California honey because the bees forage on different flowers. That variation is impossible to fake in industrial blending facilities. It's authenticity you can taste. Local Hive also supports American beekeepers at a time when many are being pushed out by cheap imports and fake honey. This brand proves honey can be traceable, functional, and honest, all at once. When local actually means local, honey becomes more than sweetness. It becomes medicine. Best number 3. Nature Nate's Nature. Nate A.S. is the rare success story that proves scale doesn't have to kill integrity. What started in a Texas garage in the 1990s grew into America's number 1 branded honey by doing the opposite of its competitors, refusing to ultra-filter, refusing to adulterate, and insisting on transparency. This honey is raw, unfiltered, and unheated. You can see it: cloudy appearance, visible pollen, thick texture, and natural crystallization over time. Those aren't flaws, they're signs of life. Third-party lab testing confirms 0 antibiotics, no pesticide residues, and sugar profiles consistent with genuine honey sourced from trusted US beekeepers. Unlike fake honey that spikes blood sugar like table sugar, Nature Nates retains enzymes and compounds that give honey its lower glycemic impact, antimicrobial properties, and wound healing benefits. It behaves like food, not syrup. At around $11–12 for a 32-ounce bottle, Nature Nates is accessible in major grocery stores without resorting to shortcuts. That matters. It proves families don't have to choose between honesty and affordability. Nature Nates earns its place by showing that real honey can reach millions of homes without becoming fake in the process. Best number 4. Madhava was producing organic honey long before organic became a marketing buzzword. Founded in the 1970s in Colorado, the company spent decades building controlled, verified organic supply chains, while most competitors relied on antibiotics, chemical treatments, and shortcuts. That history matters. Because organic honey only works when the entire system is controlled, not just the label. Unlike brands that slap organic certification on blended imports, Madhava partners with certified organic beekeepers who follow strict protocols that conventional operations ignore. The honey is raw and unfiltered, preserving visible pollen, active enzymes, and the natural texture that real honey develops when it hasn't been overheated or ultra-filtered. Independent testing has repeatedly confirmed 0 pesticide residues, no antibiotics, and authentic pollen counts, proving the honey hasn't been stripped of its identity. Flavor is rich and complex, reflecting diverse organic floral sources rather than monoculture crops sprayed with chemicals. Madhava demonstrates that organic certification can mean something, but only when a company commits to doing the hard work behind the scenes. This is organic honey that delivers real nutritional value, real traceability, and real integrity, not loophole-driven marketing. Best number 5. YS Eco Bee Farms. YS Eco Bee Farms represents what honey looks like when it's made by people who have spent generations respecting bees instead of exploiting them. This Illinois-based, family-owned operation pioneered organic beekeeping in the US when most producers were still treating hives like chemical factories. The honey is pure, raw, unpasteurized, and unfiltered. Straight from the hive with enzymes alive and nutrients intact. Natural crystallization creates a creamy, spreadable texture that happens on its own, not through forced industrial processing. The flavor is balanced and layered, showcasing what honey tastes like when nothing has been stripped away. Professional taste tests consistently rank YS Eco Bee Farms at the top, not because of branding, but because quality is unmistakable. Active enzymes provide antimicrobial and wound healing benefits that ultra-filtered honey destroys. The nutrient profile remains intact, making this honey both food and medicine. At around $34 for larger quantities, it's premium, but justified. You're paying for generational knowledge, ethical beekeeping, and honey exactly as nature intended. If there is a benchmark for what real honey means, this is it. The honey aisle is where nature collides with corporate greed. On one side are companies selling corn syrup, antibiotic residues, and pesticide contamination behind friendly mascots and organic labels. On the other are a smaller group of producers who still understand that honey is supposed to come from bees, not chemistry labs. Fake honey isn't just a rip-off, it's a health issue. Ultra-filtered syrups spike blood sugar like table sugar, destroy enzymes, and erase traceability. Contaminated honey exposes families to banned antibiotics, herbicides, and heavy metals. The worst brands rely on the fact that most consumers never look closely. The good news is that real honey still exists. Raw, unfiltered, cloudy, crystallizing naturally. Traceable to actual beekeepers. When you know what to look for, the difference becomes obvious, both in the jar and in your body. Your pantry deserves better than liquid fraud disguised as pure. Choose the brands that respect bees, transparency, and your health. Reward honesty, not marketing. If this helped you rethink what's in your pantry, hit subscribe and drop a comment about the biggest honey betrayal you've ever discovered. Until next time. Keep your standards high and your honey real.